All right, welcome to the webinar. We are ready to rock and roll. Stock market secrets. We're going to be walking you through how to find the best stocks to buy and sell for maximum profit without guessing. So I'm excited to be here with you. I'm your host, Jason Brown, stock market coach and options trader. And I'm going to be sharing with you my signature 3P system. Primarily, we're going to be focusing on the first P, which is power charts. The second P I teach is PowerTrades, which talks about options. And then how do we turn that into power profit? So let's dive into it. Now, the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you today, this stuff is not taught in school. So make sure you pay attention. This is good stuff. So turn off any distractions. Put your cell phone on mute. Close out Facebook. Close out anything that might be a distraction, because you don't want to miss this information. I'm going to connect the dots. This is my goal here. I want to connect the dots over the next 45, 50 minutes that we're going to spend together. I want to take a complicated subject like the stock market, because many people think it's complicated, but what I'm going to show you today, you're going to realize it's simpler than you may think. And I want to make it simple for you and actionable for you when you leave this webinar. All right. If you're not familiar with me, let me just give you a little bit about my background. Perhaps you found me on YouTube. Perhaps you came across some other stuff that I teach online, but I'm pretty much known for teaching stocks and options online. Some of my videos have gotten over 1 million views. As you can see, we have thousands of subscribers, and we also have thousands of members who have come through my course and my program. So I'm also the founder and creator of PowerTrades University. That's where I coach and share what trades I'm looking at. That's where I teach my students. That's also where we have our courses on how to trade stocks, how to trade options, how to do advanced options. And that's also where we have our community of traders that chat and talk with each other and share their trades and share what's going on in the market. You may have found me or known me through my blog. That's where I find my written work, where I write up my articles, share my case studies of trades, profitable, as well as some that I may have lost on. All of that's on the blog. And then I'm also the host of the Money Markets and Mindset podcast, because making money in the stock market is not just about knowing what to do, but it's also about having a money mindset, being able to take calculated risks, being able to control your emotions. And we talk about a lot of that inside the Money Markets and Mindset podcast, which is why it's called Money Markets and Mindset, because you have to kind of have all three if you want to be successful long term. So that's a little bit about me. Outside of business, just to share with you a little bit about my personal life. If you look up in the right corner, I'm a new father. That's my daughter. Love her to pieces. Oh my God, that's my heart. That's my first child. And down there, we had her baby shower before she was born at our house. That's my mother and my brother. Down there in the right-hand corner. And I love looking at that picture because I'm from Detroit. I'm from, the neighborhood, and we didn't grow up with a lot of money, and we definitely didn't grow up in a nice home on a lake. And so just to see my mother and brother, when I look at that picture, it just shows to me how far her son, myself, was able to come growing up in public schools in Detroit, around a lot of crime, and to be living a lifestyle that we're living now. Over to the left, I like to have a little bit of fun. Up top, you can see that's me skydiving. So I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane with a guy strapped to my back. It's called a tandem skydive. Unless you're licensed, you can't jump out of the plane by yourself. But nevertheless, it's just as fun. And then actually down below to the left, me and my best friend, we're both certified scuba divers. So fun fact, I'm certified to scuba dive up to 135 feet. So I love being around the water, and especially underneath the water. It's just a whole nother life and level of energy down there. So some really cool stuff. So just wanted to share a little bit about me on a personal level, let you know it's just not all business. However, I do love the stock market and teaching it. So let's talk about you. This training is not for you. So you're the wrong person, or you're not in the right place if you're looking for a way to get rich quick without learning how the stock market works. So I like to say this is get rich. It could be quick, but this is not get rich quick without learning how the stock market works. If you're lazy and not willing to put in the work to actively manage your own money for greater profits, and I like to say at least commit to 2 hours a week, this is not for you, because this is not set it and forget it. This is not turn your money over to me, Jason Brown. Like, no, I don't take people's money. I teach you how to manage your own money. And so if you're not willing to do that, this is not for you. If you're not willing to put in the work at least 2 hours a week. So if you're not willing to cut off TV or find 2 hours somewhere, it's probably not for you. If you're not willing to take calculated risks, this is the stock market. Money is at risk. Money can be lost. And my goal is to show you how to put the risk in your favor and then take the risk at the best possible time so that the odds are in your favor. But this is the stock market. It can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways, and you can lose your money. So if you're not willing to take calculated risks, which I'm sure you are, you take a calculated risk every day when you get in your car, you take a calculated risk that you will make it to work or wherever you're going. So I'm sure you are. But if you thought this was like how to make money without taking risks, this isn't for you. All right. If you get upset or offended when someone like me gives 60+ minutes of free content and then makes an offer at the end, this is not for you. So I'm going to share with you some cool stuff about how the stock market works, but we only got about 45, 50 minutes, maybe an hour or so together. And so I can't teach you everything I know in an hour. So I am going to share with you how you can go deeper with me inside my courses, inside my coaching community, if that's something you choose to take advantage of. But if you get offended by that, then you're not the right person, because that's what's going to happen at the end. I'm going to give you an opportunity to go deeper with me. Now, you're in the right place if you're looking for a simple and consistent approach to finding the best stocks to trade. So you're the right person if that's what you're looking for. If you want to learn how to have your money work for you instead of you always working hard for it, then you're in the right place, because that was me. I was like, how do I get my money to work for me? If you are a type of person that wants to become more confident in understanding how the stock market works, you're tired of when people at work talk about the stock market, you kind of just sit in the corner because you don't understand how it works. If you want to become more confident in learning this stuff, you're in the right place. And then if you want to learn how to build long-term wealth for you and your family, this is one of the biggest wealth creation industries in the world, which is learning how to have your money create money and leave a legacy for your family. Not just a legacy from the money standpoint. I want to point that out. Leaving a legacy by passing the knowledge down. I think about my family. There was no one I could go and talk to and say, how did you make your money? How was the stock market for you? Most of my family didn't know how it worked. And so if you want to learn how to build long-term wealth, not just in a sense of money, but in a sense of knowledge and passing it down for generations, then you're in the right place. So here's what you're going to learn by hanging out with me today. I'm going to walk you through stock market terms, the stock market terms that you need to learn. I'm also going to walk you through what to look for to find fundamentally stable stocks to invest in. So there's two types of trading or investing. It's fundamentally, meaning you're looking at the finances, the books, and then there's technical, meaning you're looking at charts and trying to understand patterns. And so that's the third thing that you're going to learn with me today, how to determine the best time to buy and sell using some ninja chart reading strategies that I've developed. I didn't develop, I've learned it, but I've kind of perfected my craft as far as starting to read these charts over the years. So I'm going to share with you that today. Now, make sure you stay until the end. There's two bonuses that I'm going to share with you. I already told you that I have courses. I'm going to share with you how to get my #1 stock trading course, my best-selling stock trading course, and my best-selling option course, as well as a few added bonuses. I'm going to share with you how to get that for free. So I know free is like a dirty word sometimes on the internet. It's like nothing in life is free. But literally, I'm going to show you how you can get those for free. I'll also show you how you can pay for them as well. But if you stick with me to the end, I'm going to show it to you how to get those for free. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about money. Most people want to be their own boss. Most people want to work from home. They want to increase their financial IQ or intelligence. They want to feel smart or feel better about themselves when they talk about money. Most people want to buy not just a car, their dream car. Most people want to pay cash for a home, right? They don't want to have a mortgage for 30 years. Most people, if you have kids, you're trying to think, how do I put my kids through college without us going into debt with student loans? And another big topic that's on people's minds is their retirement. If you look at what's going on today, there's no more pensions. Companies, it's hard to stay at a company now for 30 to 40 years without them laying people off. And so you're concerned about your retirement. And what's interesting about retirement is if there's no more pensions, then how are people retiring? Well, you're forced to invest in 401ks. Well, 401ks put your money into the stock market, okay? So the key to all of these things on this slide that we're looking at is that they're all connected to money. There's no way around it. So you might as well figure out how to manage your money and how to get a better return for it, because almost everything in life as it relates to, retirement, tuition, car, homes, wanting to be your own boss, possibly paying for your own medical expenses, all this stuff, unfortunately, is not free. It's not free. Water, gas, electricity. This stuff isn't free. Now, when I say water, I'm talking about running water to your home. I'm not talking about a water faucet on the side of a building that you just push a button and get some free drinking water. All right. But most of this stuff is not free. And so you might as well learn how to manage your money. And so here's the thing. The question is always how. The question is never if I can pay for my dream home, if I can pay for my dream car, if I can put my kids through college, because people are doing it. Warren Buffett's doing it. Bill Gates doing it. Other people who invest are doing it, and people you've never heard of, or your next door neighbor possibly. People are doing it. The question is how. How are they doing it? And that's what I want to share with you today is the how. How are people making this happen and give you an opportunity to make it happen for yourself? First, let's talk about how most people make money. And so if you've never seen this before, this is the cash flow quadrant, okay? And Robert Kiyosaki gets credit for this. He's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So he gets credit for the cash flow quadrant. So let me walk you through it. Most people make money in the E quadrant. They have a job. So they go to work, they get paid. What happens if you don't go to work? And by the way, there'll be there's a comment box off to the side. If you're watching this on our platform, there'll be a question and answer box. Feel free to type in your responses there and interact with me. Only my team and I can see your responses. And if you're watching this on YouTube, where we're streaming it or somewhere else, there's a comment box below. So feel free to leave your comments below. And if you have a question, try to hold them to the end or ask them throughout. I may answer your question throughout the presentation. If not, I'll try to answer them at the end or send you an email, come back in here, my team or myself, and respond to your comments. So wanted to just get that out the way as well. So back to the cash flow quadrant. If you're an employee, you have a job, which means you go to work, you get paid. But if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. That's called linear income, right? So you're trading time for dollars, and you can never make any more money than 24 hours in a day. That's just 100% fact, okay? Now, if you go down, still on the left side, you got the self-employed person. They're just a person who owns their own job. So you ever been to a small business and the owner was the guy working the cash register or working behind the counter? They still have a job. They have to be there in order to make money. And they're typically the person who opens the store, closes the store, does everything. So they still have a job. They just own their own job. And so before we go to the right side, on the left side, that is not where wealth is created. No wealth is created on the left side because you're constantly trading time for dollars. And so you can never really get ahead of the game. Now, on the right side, that's the side where wealth is created. So the B quadrant is you're a business owner, which means you have a system working for you. Or people and a system working for you making money. And then below that, you have the I quadrant, which is the investor quadrant, which means money works for you. Now, here's what's interesting about the I quadrant. I like to ask people, can you personally build a big business? Can you build a McDonald's? Can you build a better burger delivery system than McDonald's? Can you build a better search engine than Google? Can you build a better social network than Facebook? Because these people all own a business system. But what's cool about that is even though you possibly can't build a better system than the companies I named, as an investor, though, it allows you to go up and buy shares in those companies and partner with their resources, partner with their employees, partner with their genius, partner with their trademark. So you don't have to actually create it, but you can take your money in from the I quadrant and go up and invest in people who know how to run these business systems. And the cool part about it is you don't have to have the headache of running the company, managing the employees. You can put your money on that money train, and you can kind of ride the wave as long as they're doing the right thing and moving in the right direction. So that's what's important about understanding how money works, is that you can partner and be a part of a big business without actually the headache of dealing with marketing and the competition and stuff like that. So I wanted to break that down because first it's important. Again, I like to talk about mindset. First, you have to understand where you are. And when you look at this, you need to ask yourself, well, how do I make money today? I have a job. Well, that's not the place to create wealth. So if you're looking to create wealth, we have to figure out how to at least keep one foot in the employee side, because you got to pay your bills. But how do you start to get one of your other feet on the right side of the quadrant and ideally down into the investor quadrant? Okay. And so if you're like me, back when I knew nothing about this stuff, in order to make more money, I was thinking I should get a second job. And that's what the average person does. Instead of thinking, how do I get to the right side of the quadrant? Most people double down and they get a second job. And a second job is not the answer when it comes to wealth creation, because my mentor put it this way. He said, if your first job wasn't getting you the results that you want, why would you get a second one? And that's supposed to be your quote unquote good job, right? And so your good job, if that's not getting you what you want, typically your second job is like, well, I work weekends at Target, or I'm going to get a second job at Walmart, right? And so a second job is not the answer. Two jobs are for two people. And the reality is you typically end up overworked and underpaid. And that's typically what happens, because you don't feel like you're getting paid enough at your primary job. You definitely don't feel like you're getting paid enough at your secondary Target, Walmart, night shift security job, or maybe you're driving Uber or Lyft. I mean, there's so many cool ways that you can make some extra money, and I'm not knocking that, but those are short-term solutions to a longer-term problem, which is, how do I get ahead of the money, and then how do I get my money working for me? Now, let me just take you back for me, because, so when I was working two jobs, I was working at like Verizon, I was working at Best Buy and McDonald's. I was doing everything I could when I was coming up. And so I thought, okay, well, why don't I just go back to school and get a degree so I can climb the corporate ladder? So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll just get a quote unquote better job. So I got my degree in finance from Wayne State University. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder. Maybe some of you are on that same plight today. And for me, I became, regional manager for a Fortune 50 company. I had the over 6-figure salary, and I thought I made it. And what I realized was that long hours were waiting for me. I was working so many hours that when I really divided up how many hours I was working versus what I was making, like, you would be surprised at what my hourly rate really was once I broke down all the hours I was working weekends, working nights. In this day and age, I had a laptop, cell phone, so I was constantly responding to emails late night, in the bed, ready to go to sleep, responding to emails. And so really climbing that corporate ladder, there was nothing waiting for me but long hours. And I found out that, to me, a salary equals golden handcuffs. So what do I mean by that? You get this high paying salary and you're excited, but really it's just handcuffs. They're just a nice set of handcuffs. Because what I realized was, I thought, wait a minute, nobody ever put it to me this way. When they offered me salary, I'm excited, like, yes, I will work as much as you want me to for $100,000. But then I started to look at how much I was working, and I realized they can work me as much as they want, and they don't have to pay me an extra cent. So there would be times where I would have to work holidays, nights, weekends, emergency meeting, all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, like, I couldn't complain because I agreed to that. But once I realized what I agreed to, I realized, like, wow, they really have me handcuffed. They really have me under control for this $100,000. And I didn't like that. And I didn't like that they did their part. They offered me a job when I needed a job. But what I didn't like was that I couldn't earn any more money for my family. I just couldn't. I had to wait for a promotion, or I had to go out and get a second job again. Imagine that, after I had climbed the corporate ladder. And so I don't know who said money isn't important. I don't know who might have told you that in your life. I heard that growing up, but the reality is, if it's not important, then why do we spend majority of our life on the work side, out of balance with life? Why do we spend the most of our time working and not playing, working and not spending time with our kids, our spouse, working on our passion, doing what we love? And the conclusion is that I don't know who told you money isn't important, but it's kind of right up there with oxygen. We need it to live. We need it to breathe. And I find the people that have money have life a little bit easier. They find it a little bit easier to breathe. It's a little easier to breathe at night when you can pay your gas and electric bill and pay your mortgage. And it's a little bit suffocating when you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. You don't know how you're going to fix your wife's car. You don't know how you're going to fix the roof and it's leaking, right? It's a little bit suffocating. It's a little bit irritating. It's a little bit upsetting when the car breaks down and you don't know where you're going to get the money from to pay for it. And so the reality is money is not everything. I like how Kanye West said it in a song one time. He said, having money's not everything, but not having it is, right? So when you have money, it's not everything. There's love and all this other stuff. But when you don't have money, it sure can feel like it's everything. So what if what they taught you was wrong? That's what I started to ask myself. Like, what if what they taught me was wrong? What if they had it backwards? And I mean backwards is go to school, get a good job. And I'm not knocking that. I got the good job. I have the degree. So I still have that in my back pocket if I need to use it. But what if my money was supposed to work hard for me instead of me always working hard for it? And so those are the questions I started to ask myself. And that's what I want you to ask yourself as we go throughout this. What if what they taught you was wrong? What if they had it backward? What if money really does grow on trees, right? It's paper. What if your money was supposed to work hard for you? And so as I started to think about that, I got involved with the stock market, and I took at that time a $10,000 student loan. I actually started with $500, but once I started seeing how this works, I was like, how do I get like $10,000 into the machine? And so I took a $10,000 student loan and I grew it to a six-figure trading account, as you can see. And this was back in like 2003. This was, wow, so long ago. Now, over a decade later, I'm still playing the same game, only better. So this is just a screenshot from some of the trades in my account from 2018. And you can see just the gains alone was just under 400,000. Now, my results are not typical or guaranteed. I need to say that for full disclaimer, disclosure. I'm not saying, hey, you'll be able to get the exact same results, but I am going to be sharing with you the game that I played and how I played it so you can see how to play it and make it work for you. And so over a decade later, I'm still playing the same game, only better. Typically, if you do something over time, you typically don't get worse at it. You only get better at it. So that's why it's important to get started so that 5-10 years from now, you could be living a different life. And so here's what one of my students said. Roscoe, he said he bought 100 shares of CGC last July at $34.81 with a profit from an option trade last May, which has been my best trade so far. Today sold at $41.54. Not the best profit, but like Jason says, any profit is good profit. Now, I don't know if he's just being humble or what, but if you do the math real quick, buying something at $34.81 and selling it at $41.54, and you bought 100 shares, that's about a $7 profit. All right. So could you use an extra $700? And if you look at, how much he spent to make an extra $700, about $3,481 if he bought 100 shares. So that's people's tax returns, right? So what if your tax returns could generate you an extra $700, whether that's every 6 months, whether it's that every year, whether that's every 30 days. There's a way that this could be possible for you. So he said, any profit is good profit. So I just want to show you that, it's not just, well, he has a lot of money, so he's trading, but there's people with accounts that are $5,000 or less, doing the best that they can with the money that they have, getting profit as well. So please understand that nothing I'm getting ready to share with you today is theory or fluff that might work. This is exactly what I've done to grow my own personal multiple six-figure investment account. And I've helped thousands of students learn how the market works to begin their journey and create their own unique results. So why the stock market? Let's dive into the specifics about why the stock market. Number one is location independent. So if you're thinking I want to work from anywhere in the world and make money, the market has that capability as long as you have a laptop and a high-speed internet connection. And that's what I love about the stock market. The other thing is it's the ultimate leverage. Your money can work harder for you than you can for it. You literally can build a money-making machine that spits out cash for generations to come. And the way it spits out that cash is electronically, right? You just log onto your computer, place some trades, and then boom, you can transfer the money out to your account. So, I mean, it's a beautiful system once you learn how it all works. And then the longevity of it. What I love about the stock market is, it's been around for centuries. It's existed before you and I were born, and it's going to be here long after we're gone. And that's what I love about this industry is that what we're teaching and sharing with you here today, this isn't like fluff or like this is the new hot thing like Bitcoin or something like that that may not be around. This is the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. It's been around since my parents was born. It's been around for my grandparents, and it's been around for my generation. It's going to be around for my kids. This is not going away. So I love the longevity. You think about when you go to school, you learn something that may be obsolete by the time you graduate, or at least 5 to 10 years later. If you learn marketing back in the day, think about marketing nowadays with the power of Google, Facebook, social media, stuff like that. They weren't teaching that back in the day because there was no social media. There was no YouTube to do marketing on. There was no Snapchat, Instagram, right? And so that stuff they taught you 10, 20, 30 years ago is outdated. And so what I love about the stock market is the stuff we're teaching will last you for a lifetime because the stock market doesn't change. Only the names and faces and ticker symbols of the companies change, but the game is the same. And that gets me really excited. The other thing is there's no isms. I like to call it isms because there's no racism. For me growing up being African-American, I didn't see many people like me on TV or that were investing. So I used to think this must not be for us. Like, everyone that I saw was typically older white male. And so you may feel that way if you're Hispanic. You may feel that way if you are female. There was not really any female financial news anchors. It was always older white male. And so what's cool about this is that your job, you can get discriminated against, but in the stock market, there's no racism. They can't see who you are. It's just you in the charts. We all speak the same language, which is green. If you have money, then you can get into this game. There's no sexism. Like I was saying, it doesn't matter if you're male. It doesn't matter if you're female. And, in this day and age, it doesn't matter if you're transgender or any of that stuff, right? Because, there's some people who are making some unique choices these days. But what's awesome is that doesn't mean you're excluded from the stock market, no matter what your sex is, no matter what your race is, and then no matter what your age is. You don't have to feel like if you're 65 years old they're discriminating against you, or you don't have to feel like if you're 21 years old they're discriminating against you. Literally none of that matters in the stock market. All that matters is that you have a desire to learn how it works, you have some money, and you're willing to take calculated risks. And that's what I want to teach you here today. And so here's the problem, though. All of that sounds good, Jason Brown, but where do I start? And the stock market can seem confusing because you're like, okay, do I get money first? Do I learn first? Do I open a trading account? What do I do? And I want to kind of take you down a path today. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel intimidating because most people fear losing money. I don't know why, but people fear losing money. If they go to the casino, they don't necessarily fear losing money. They can buy a depreciating asset like a car that's they're going to lose money on. We do things that we lose money all the time. which is interesting. But when it comes to investing, like people get overwhelmed and intimidated, which is really interesting. But it can also feel like a foreign language, right? You're looking at these charts, you're hearing these terms, you're like, I don't know what that means. And so I want to break that stuff down for you. I want to show you how to find the best stocks to invest in. So let's kick it off. Here are the three key financial. I told you I'm going to walk you through how to find the best stocks from a fundamental standpoint, and the three things that you need to look at, and then also from a technical standpoint, how to read the charts. And so the three key financial drivers, if you're taking notes, that you want to pay attention to when it comes to picking the best stock is sales revenue, profit margin, and earnings. Now, I'm going to dive deeper into each one of these, but if you're taking notes, again, sales revenue, profit margin, and earnings. Now, there's other things to look at, but these are the top three with respect to the fundamentals that you want to pay attention to. So what is sales revenue? Sales revenue tells you if the company is selling their products and services and then how many they are selling. But here's the thing, sales revenue doesn't tell you if the sales are profitable, okay? So it just means, hey, we own a product or service and we're selling it, and this is how much money we have collected. But then the next step is, okay, but what is the profit margin? And so profit margin tells you if the product they're selling is generating a profit or a loss. So for example, let's just take an iPhone. If Apple is selling an iPhone for $1,000 and they sell 10 of those, well, they just made $10,000 in revenue. But now we have to say, well, how much does an iPhone cost to make? So if an iPhone costs $2,000 to make and they're selling for $1,000, then their profit margin, they're operating at a loss. But if an iPhone, they're selling for $1,000 and it costs $500 to make, then the gross profit margin on that phone is $500 per phone that they sell. Does that make sense? And so revenue tells you how much of a product they're selling, how much revenue they're bringing in. And then the profit margin tells you if that product is operating at a profit or a loss based on that price. And then the third thing you want to pay attention to is earnings, okay? Earnings tells you if the company is operating at a profit or loss after all expenses are deducted. So again, using that iPhone example, if it costs $500 to make, they're selling it for $1,000. If they sell 10 of those, that's $10,000 in revenue, $5,000 though in profit, right? Because it's only a 50% profit margin. But now out of that $5,000, this is just an example, they have to deduct product development, they have to deduct customer service, they have to deduct employee salaries, 401ks, they have to deduct if they have a building, all of those things. So they have to deduct out all of those expenses, and then we're left with the true profit or the earnings. What is the earnings that the company made per share after selling X amount of phones and then after deducting all of those expenses? So those are the top three things that you want to pay attention to with respect to finding out fundamentally if a company is a good one to invest in or not for the long term. Now, let's take a look at a couple of products like a cell phone, right? You know, if I ask you to raise your hand, do you have a cell phone? Because we're going to talk about how to find some of the best companies to invest in. Most people on this webinar training here, you have a cell phone. You've probably used Google before to search something. You've probably used Facebook before to keep up with your friends or give an update. Perhaps you have cable or Wi-Fi in your home. You have to, or you wouldn't be on here with me going through this presentation, right? And so if I ask you, have you used any of these products by a show of hand or type in the box, yes, if you've used any of these products. Or, you know, I can't see you, but I'm sure you're shaking your head like, oh, where are you going with this? Of course we use some of these products. Well, here's where I'm going with this. If I turn around and then said, how many of us own the stock? I bet most people's hands would come down, right? You're probably shaking your head like, well, I use them, but I don't own them. And that's what most people do is we're on the consumer side of things. We're spending money with these companies. We're using their products and services, but we're not getting paid for it, okay? And so this is what I call the common sense approach to investing. Some of the best stocks to buy are right in front of you. Some of the best stocks to buy are the stocks in the company's products and services that you're using every day. You just don't look at it from an investor's mindset. You're typically looking at it from a consumer's mindset. Most people are running out and buying the iPhones, buying the Apple Watch, but they're not thinking about, why am I not buying this as an investment? I'll give you a quick example that kind of rocked my world. My mother and my family is from the South, and they migrated from the South to the North to work for GM Chrysler here in the Motor City in Detroit. They came up here, moved their entire families up here to get jobs. And I asked my mom, I said, there's this big movement and migration going on to the North to get jobs, and people, they're building roads. You're hearing about these new things called cars. They're building factories. They've never been built before. I said, Mom, how is it that nobody in our family thought to buy any stock? And she basically just said, we were just worried about getting a job. And so, if that's you, most people are just worried about buying a new product or, having the latest clothes. But I want you to use a common sense and think, maybe I should be investing in some of these companies and be an investor and not just a consumer. So let's talk about the charts, because this is where the magic happens. So we just walk you through the top 3 things to look for fundamentally. Now, let's walk you through how to look at the charts, because this is where the magic happens. Because even though a stock can be fundamentally good, there could be is it the right time to buy it? And there are patterns that show up on charts that if you learn how to read them, you'll be in a better place as far as putting the risk and odds in your favor. So before we do that, look at this picture, and I want you to participate with me. Type in the box. What do you see? What do you see here in this picture right here? Just take a look at it. Typically, when I ask this question, I get Batman's embryo. I've gotten a satellite picture of Earth, all kind of things. So what do you see when you look at this picture? I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to come back and tell you what this picture really is. But let's look at this picture. Let's play this game. What is this a picture of? Now, if you've seen this before, which we all have on TV, you know that this is a picture of a heartbeat monitor, right? And so it's a heart monitor. It's going to monitor if a person's heart is beating. Now, what happens if that line goes flat? Well, that simply means the person's heart stopped beating, right? Pretty straightforward. And so the question I got to ask you is, did you have to be a doctor or a nurse to understand that? Okay. And the answer is typically no, you didn't have to be a doctor or a nurse to understand that. But how did you know what that was? It's because you've seen it so many times on television, on, doctor shows. Maybe you've been in the hospital. And so the point is, you didn't have to go to nursing school to understand what that was, but you saw the chart and the pattern so many times that you understand not only what it is, but what to do if it flatlines. You need to, you might have to do CPR. You might have to call the nurse in so they can rub those things together and shock the person's nervous system so they can bring their heart back. So that is how the stock market is and how stock trading is. When we look at this chart of Facebook, there is a pattern here that tells you if Facebook's stock, the heartbeat of the stock, is it beating well or is the stock starting to die? And so let me just give you a quick example. Here, you can see Facebook's heart is beating very well, right? Stock's beating well. That is called an uptrend. But then you can see there's a point. Look at this big dagger kind of going through their heart. I'm just using the heart as an example, but this is kind of like a dagger going through the heart. And what started to happen? That heart started to experience some problems and the stock started to sell off. So wouldn't it be important to know and be able to identify when the heartbeat of a stock is beating well as when a dagger goes through the heart and when it's, time to possibly get out? And that's what we're talking about today, being able to look at the chart and identify buy and sell signals. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Apple. Same thing. You can see here, boom, the heartbeat of Apple is beating pretty well, right? And then, boom, you can see about right there, another dagger kind of going through the heart. But then, boom, you can start to see where the stock peaked out and started to sell off. And so there are patterns in the chart that you can look at to determine the best times to buy and sell. But let me let you in on a secret. Even though Facebook and Apple are good stocks, could you see that there are good times to buy stocks, but there's also some bad times to buy even some of the best companies. So even though these were some of the best companies, if you bought at some of those times where the dagger went through their heart and they started to sell off, doesn't make them a bad company, but it does mean you bought it at the wrong time, at least according to the chart. And you could have bought it at a better time or waited if you knew how to read the stock chart. All right. And so do you think it would be helpful to know when to buy and sell? You bet. That is the name of the game. The name of the game is how do I research the best stocks to buy? And then what are the best times to buy? And then what are the symptoms or signals on the chart that are telling me maybe it's time to take my profit and sell and get out? Let's walk through another one. I want to make this really practical for you. So this is a chart of CVS. And I want you to, do you see a pattern here? I want to give you a second to look at it. And I want to ask you, do you see a pattern? Most people don't. Maybe some people do. But if you don't, I'm going to kind of draw it out for you. You can see the stock is in what I like to call a sideways pattern. But there's also a bigger pattern that's going on. And I want to walk you through that. So if we were to draw what I like to call a channeling box, now you can really start to see what's going on with the stock. This is called a channel. And so what this is, let me turn on my drawing tool. The stock is channeling between two price points. And this was the first pattern that I learned that made me a lot of money. The stock is channeling between, you can see about 76 and 82. It's a $6 channel. So you can see the stock goes up $6, comes down $6. Basically goes back up $6. Comes down $6, goes up $6, and it's back down $6, goes up $6, right? And so here's what most people do. And this probably happened to you before. And if it does, it's not your fault. Nobody ever taught you how to read patterns. Here's what most people do. The average person will look at this chart. Well, the average person doesn't look at a chart. What the average person does is their best friend calls them up and says, man, have you seen CVS? That thing's been on the move lately. And so what the average person does is they'll be like, yeah, maybe we should buy some. And the average person buys right here when they really should be selling or waiting. And then what happens is CVS then turns around and comes down here. And so the average person then says, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I'm losing too much money. The average person sells right here. And then here's what happens. The moment you sell, which you should have been buying, CVS then turns around and does this. And you think the market is rigged. I knew it. I know you can't make money in it. The moment I buy, it turns around. And the moment I sell, it reverses and goes higher. And that used to be me. That's how I know this is a real thing. That used to be me. And the reality is I didn't know how to read stock charts. I didn't realize that I had it reversed. I didn't realize if I learned how to read the charts, there was a pattern that was telling me the best times to buy and the best time to sell, instead of buying and being like, I think it can go to $92. Well, the chart says it sells off at $82 every time, at least for the last year or so. And so this is just one example of how once you know how to read the charts and you know how to read the patterns, you can make your money work harder for you than you can for it. Here's an example of one of our students, Sylvain. He said, close my June call options on Lockheed Martin, that's ticker symbol LMT, at 3:30 for a cool 27% profit instead of a catastrophe. If you look at this, do you see those patterns we talked about? There's that uptrending pattern, but here's that pattern that we just talked about, that sideways pattern. Do you see it? Boom, up, down, boom, up. And so next time you see it, you get an opportunity to buy, and boom, once it got to the top, he sold it, and then boom, there's that dagger that we talked about going right through the heart of the stock, right? And so there are better times to buy a stock than not. And once you learn how these patterns work, it's almost jumping off at the page at you now, like, oh my God, like how many more of these can we find? At least that's how I was when I saw this. I thought, this is interesting. How many more of these can I find, right? And so it's very important to be able to identify the buy and sell signals. That is really the backbone of being able to read stock charts. The backbone of being able to read stock charts is to identify these buy and sell signals and determine the best time to get in and the most optimal time to get out for the best profit. So earlier I asked you in this picture, I asked you, what do you see? And I'm going to tell you, this is a cow. And most people don't get it. Most people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is not a cow, Jason Brown. Well, hang out with me for a second. I want to show you because I want to prove a point. I told you I'm all about the mindset stuff too. It's not just about money. And so if you look at this, there's his ear. There is his other ear, right? Here's his eyes, right? Here's his nose and mouth area, right? Here's his nose bone, so to speak. And then you can see his jawline kind of right there. You can see his head right here. And so why am I showing you this? Why am I showing you this? It's because when I first showed you this picture, I asked you, what did you see? All kind of responses came in. A satellite image, a picture of a cell phone tower, an embryo, all these different things. And it's not until someone actually shows you what you're looking at that you realize it's a cow. And that's the same thing with reading stock charts. Until someone sits down with you and says, actually, this is how it works. This is what you're looking at. This is what you should be looking for. And when you can find those things, you can find the cash cow in the stock charts. All right. And so that's what I wanted to prove to you, is that when you don't know what you're looking at, and that's what most people do, they go at it alone. Like, I can figure this out by myself. I know what I'm doing. I get it. But you really don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're looking at, and you think you know, but you really don't until somebody shows it to you. You know, Henry Ford said it best. He said, "It's well that the people of this nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." And what Henry Ford is basically saying is, if people really truly understood how money works, more people, or should I say less people, would just turn their money over to a random financial advisor. Less people would just blindly contribute to their 401k without looking at the charts and understanding what's the best fund to be in. Less people would go to a bank and just buy a CD versus learning how to have their money work for them. And so, did you learn something today as we get ready to wrap up? I hope you did. You had to literally either be blind or deaf or just not paying attention if you didn't learn anything today. And so imagine if we had more time, what I could teach you, because there's so much more to this. There's so many other patterns and there's some traps to avoid. But just imagine if we had more time, what I could teach you. All right. And I'm not sure why you showed up here today. All right. Maybe you're like me and you're frustrated with your investing track record, or maybe it could be that you're looking for an opportunity to provide more for you and your family. That was me. I was like, how do I get more? I'm tired of everybody else having the more. How do I get some of this more? Right. For me and my family. Or maybe you heard all the buzz and excitement around the stock market and how others are having success in the market, and you wanted to see how you can make it work for you. Or perhaps when the markets sell off with trade war in China and all that volatility was happening, you wish you could be more confident in how to survive or get through a market downturn. Or perhaps you're just tired of working hard for your money. That was me too. I had 2 jobs. Then I climbed the corporate ladder. I got my degree, and I was still working hard for money. And I was like, man, it's time to have my money work hard for me. So maybe you're tired of working hard for your money and you want to have it work hard for you. I don't know why you showed up today. But what I can tell you is that if you're looking to understand how the stock market works, if you're looking to have a blueprint for buying and selling stocks, if you want to feel more confident with your stock market financial game plan, you want to feel informed when speaking to your investment advisor or taking control of your money, then you're in the right place and you really want to pay attention to what I'm going to share with you here next. All right. And so the obvious question is, how can you apply this system of leveraging the power of the stock market and profit from it? That's the only question. How can you make it work for you? Remember I said in the beginning, it's not if it works, it's how does it work and how do you make it work for you? Now, you have a choice. You can take a little bit of what I taught you today and do it the slow way and try to, figure it out through trial and error by taking some of what we shared and thinking you know it all. Or people leave a session like this and they're like, okay, I'm going to go get a book on this, right? And listen, books are boring and hard to understand. And the reality is, if you could just learn this by reading a book, you would be wealthy already. You'd already be investing. The problem with books is that a book is basically teaching you or sharing with you stuff that you're already confused about. So what I mean by that, I remember when I first went and checked out a stock market book, it was like you want to look at the consumer price index and then you want to check the volatility of a stock. So then I'm like, well, what's the consumer price index and what's the volatility? So I had to get another book to explain to me what I was reading in that book. Next thing you know, I'm like 3 books deep and I still don't understand what's going on. All right. So books are not the answer, not in this industry. Books are not the answer. And then most people are going to leave a session like this and they're going to waste time online trying to piece together the process. You're going to get conflicting reviews. Somebody says you should do Bitcoin. Someone else says you should trade Forex. There's all these conflicting views and opinions out here. I stick to the stock market because it's proven, it's public, it's regulated by the government, and it's been here and it's going to be here for a long time to come. All right. And so the reality is the quickest way to get from A to B is to follow someone who's already traveled down the road that you're looking to go down. And I've been down the road. I've been down the 2 jobs. I've been down to get my degree, climb the corporate ladder. And I've also been down the road of making profitable trades in the stock market. And so that's the simplest way to get from point A to B without the most missteps or confusions or wrong turns. Follow someone who's traveled the road that you're trying to go down. And so I want to introduce you to my flagship program. I want to share with you how you can go down the road that I've been down and how you can partner with me on this journey. So I want to introduce you to my flagship program, PowerTrades University. All right. So what is PowerTrades University? There's 2 ways to get started with us, but PowerTrades University is where I house my membership as well as the self-study course. And so you can go at this a self-study route and say, hey, I just want to go at it by myself, and that's cool. I'm also going to share with you how to go at it, partner with us, with the courses, with community, with my coaching, all right? And remember, stay until the end because I want to share with you how to get my best-selling course, Foundations, for free, as well as my options trading course, as well as some other bonuses, over $1,000 worth of bonuses for free. Now, you could pay for it, but I'm going to share with you how to get it for free. So be sure to pay attention and stay until the end as we get ready to wrap up here. So let me walk you through what Foundations is. Foundations is my stock market course. It's a 16-lesson course where I break down the stock market language, right? So there's more things that you need to learn as far as understanding the language, what to buy, when to sell, how to read stock charts. I'm going to walk you through the best chart settings, how to set up your charts, how to spot the buy and sell signals. I'm going to walk you through the most popular definitions so that you understand when you're listening to TV shows or reading the newspaper what the most important things means. I'm going to also walk you through how to trade indexes and ETFs. So like if you have like a 401k or an IRA, an independent or individual retirement account, I'm going to show you how you can leverage indexes and ETFs for those. I'm going to also show you how to research sectors and industries. I'm going to also share with you my best free trading resources, the resources that I used and still use to this day. When I first got started and I didn't have a lot of money for the premium or the pro tools, I'm going to show you the best free tools that are out there so that you don't waste time and don't waste money. I'm also going to show you how to fundamentally research stocks. So where do you find the earnings? Where do you find the revenue? Where do you find the sales numbers, the profit margin numbers? Where do you find all that? And how do you interpret it? How do you read it? What's good? What's bad? I'm going to walk you through all of that. How to use cash flow, earnings, and compensation to pick the best stock, and also the best free research tools. I'm going to show you the technical levels of when to buy and sell. I'm going to also show you how to spot opportunities in the charts. I'm going to break down candlesticks. So that chart you were looking at was a candlestick stock chart. I'm going to break that down and help you understand what's a bullish candle, a bearish candle, when is it going up, when is it going down, and why, the psychology behind it. I'm going to also walk you through when and why to use what we call line charts when we go to start to draw our figure out when is the best time to buy and start drawing on the chart so we can get a clearer picture. I also walk you through a complete breakdown of the 3 major stock trends. So I typically use and teach 3 major stock trends. Yes, there's more, but once you understand the top 3, then you can make, I don't want to put a percentage to it because 95% of the patterns fall into these 3 trends. I'm not sure what the number is, but these are the 3 major trends that everybody is watching. I'm going to also share with you how to spot when this trend starts, because that's the key. You see, it's easy when you look back and say, oh, that was in a trend and I missed it. But how do you spot the trend when it starts? And then how do you spot it when it ends to get out and keep the maximum profit? And then which trends to avoid or which traps to avoid. We're going to also walk you through how to open a brokerage account. So if you're like, I don't have a trading account, don't worry. We're going to walk you through that, how to set up your charts, how to create watch lists, how to actually practice this stuff before you put real money down, because that's important. You need to practice to make sure you actually understand how it works. Literally, I'm taking from a beginner to a confident trader, right? This course is designed to take all of the guesswork out of how the stock market works. And literally, you're going to get step-by-step, not books, video tutorials that can get you up and running with your trading account and help you become a confident trader by understanding when to buy and when to sell, right? And so the foundations course is $297. So if you want to take the self-study route, there you go. There'll be a button that pops up in the right-hand corner if you want to pick up the self-study. But let me talk to you about membership, and I still have to tell you how you can possibly get foundations for free as well. But if you want to go to self-study route, you're like, hey, I just want to learn this little bit first, get my feet wet. That's the self-study route. $297, you get the course and everything that we mentioned there. One of our members, or a person who took the course, said, following the course advice, I sold my position yesterday for a little profit. Today, the stock is down 10%. And so that's what this is all about, getting the knowledge to know when's the best time to sell and get out before this thing goes against you, because no stock goes up forever. All right. It just doesn't happen like that. So let me share with you PowerTrades University, the membership version, which is where you also get not only the courses, but you get the coaching and you get access to the community, right? So inside of PowerTrades University, by becoming a member, you also get access to me. I do a live weekly webinar for 2 hours looking at stocks and options, breaking down the best charts, the patterns, what we see, the best times to buy, the best times to sell, and the best option strategies to potentially implement to supercharge our results. You can see exactly what I'm considering buying and selling. You also get access to my personal trade tracker and strategies. And then you also have the ability to ask questions live on the webinar. So we can unmute your mic, or you could type them in the box to answer your question. You also get access to the Traders Community Forum. So this is where you can network with other traders and investors. You can post charts and trades and get feedback. You get member pick trade strategies and ideas. So members share their picks. You get 24/7 access to all of this. One of the members said, thanks for everything and the time you spent to help others learn how to trade. You can see right here, it says, thanks for everything you spent to help others learn how to trade. I'm still in the process of watching your videos, but just wanted to say thanks again for everything so far. I love getting comments like that. Now, this 16-lesson foundations course is also included in the membership. So again, remember, you get the coaching from me, you get the community, you get the 16-lesson foundations course. You also get, here's another testimony. Based on the techniques that you have introduced me to, I placed my first option trade and sold it for about 100% return. Nothing beats knowledge. All right. And so what he's talking about is what I'm also about to share with you that you get is that you also get inside of membership my 30-lesson options course included. Okay. So not only do you get foundations, you also get my options trading course where I teach you how to control higher price stocks for a fraction of the cost. I'm going to share with you my rental income strategy. There's a strategy where you can rent your stocks out like you rent a house out. So if you had stocks that were passed down to you, if you have stocks inside of an IRA, there's an opportunity for you to rent stocks out and get money every single month the same way you would rent out a house. I call it my rental income strategy. There's also strategies for making money in both up and down markets. So we know the market doesn't always go up. The market can go down sometime as well. And we show you how to profit off that as well. And especially if you have a small account, we show you how to exponentially grow your small account. Here's not a testimonial, but this is just like a screenshot I took from inside the members area. You can see Randy said, Twilio jumped 25.21 points today. Great day for those of us holding the January call options. I sold it with 32% profit from underwater to profit overnight. Kwanzaa said, awesome. Greg said, Twilio, that's the ticker symbol, TWLO. Twilio was my bluebird, 211% return on the last 2 options and took 115% return on 4 options. Wow, did it move. Now, results are not typical or guaranteed. I'm not saying that when you join, we'll have another 115% gainer, but I do know that you can only get these gains once you know how it works. And if you're in the game when we're finding these trades, and these are the trades that we find when we do our 2-hour webinars every week and share it with our members. And then they use options to supercharge their returns to get those 32%, that 211% returns. And so what would it cost to get everything together? Stick with me here because I'm going to give you a special offer. But Foundations course is $297. Options Explained is $597. If you wanted to join coaching by itself, it's $1,588, and that renews annually. And so to get everything together is $2,482, okay? But here's the thing. Obviously, you're on this webinar. I'm going to give you a special offer, so I'm not going to ask you to pay that today. However, this is the price that it goes for, and this is the price that people currently pay to join our program. However, we have a special promo going on right now. And when I say limited time, literally when the timer hits 0, that means it goes back up to regular price. All right. And so here is the webinar special, because I'm very passionate about sharing this information, very passionate about teaching people. And I love to remove the excuses. I don't have any money, or it's too expensive. All right. What is your financial future worth? Hopefully it's worth at least $99. All right. Because that's the webinar special. And for that $99, if you join membership, okay, for that $99, that is what you get. You get access to the coaching, both of the courses. All right. So I told you I'm going to show you how to get the courses for free. By joining membership, you get access to Foundations and Options Explained and the forum to chat with all the other members and post your trades and get feedback. You can see right here, here's an example of someone posting a chart to get feedback. It says, hey, Jason, what do you think? If you look at it, here's why he's asking me, what do we think? Because you see that pattern we talked about. Boom, boom, boom. So he sees it down here and thinking, what? We probably should be getting ready to buy, because that's that channeling pattern that we talked about. And so, you get the power of the community. You also get the feedback from me. But here's one other thing I want to point out. I love that 2 other people chimed in before me, right? So it's not just about me. You also had other people chime in. You need to wait at least 1 more day to see if it will reverse the trend or will break support. Expecting 10% profit for 10 days. Not bad at all, right? Earn on the turn. Just want to wait and see if it starts to go up the trend again. As a beginner, I like to see that, right? And so you see, I chimed in and said, you guys are really starting to get it. Love these comments. I concur. Let's see if we get a bounce. We don't have a confirmation yet. So we talk about waiting for a confirmation, stuff like that I teach you inside the course. All right. But I love that other members chimed in even before me. And that's the power of being in community. All right. So let me just show you the back end of the membership area. So here's what you get, right? You get access to, I already told you, get access to the Foundations course and the Options Explained course. We're going to throw those in by becoming a member of PowerTrades University. Here's the Foundations course, the 16-lesson course. Here's the Options Explained course. Then you also get access to the group coaching discussion forum, the bullish forum, and the bearish forum. You also get access to the free charting software. Now, you may be saying, well, what about the advanced options course, the advanced strategies forum? There's some other things we offer in here. for what's called our premium membership. This is what we call the starter pack. All right. So if you just want to get started, this is the best way to get started with the $99 a month. But we'll also share with you on the checkout page how you can upgrade the membership if you choose to. But the starter pack is so action packed. This is one of the best ways to get started for that price, and at least get into the game. All right. So this is the back end. This is what it looks like, just to give you an idea of how the platform looks and how you can post and how it looks for members. You're also going to get these additional bonuses. All right. You're going to get my free traders resources. I'm going to share with you the best free online tools to get started and more. You're also going to get the trader checklist that I use to make decisions before placing a trade. And then I'm also going to give you a bonus, the intro to options bonus, where I walk through what are calls, what are puts, how to leverage a small trading account. And then I'm going to walk you through a case study of an option trade that I did. All right. So the button should be up to the right. You can click that and go to the page just to see everything that we offer. But the offer that we're talking about here will be on that page. And once the timer hits 0, it goes away. For those who take action on this webinar, I'm also going to throw in, or at least before the timer hits 0, I should say, we're also going to throw in the audio version of the course. If you're like me, sometimes I like to listen to this while I'm at the gym or while I'm driving in the car. It just really helps me make sure I understand what I'm learning. And so we're also going to throw in the audio bonus. So I know that's a lot of information. So let me break this down side by side for you real quick as we get ready to wrap up. And again, there'll be a button to the top right that'll pop up and say, click here to join. Click that button. That'll open up in a new window, and you'll see the special promotional pricing here. And then if you want to upgrade to get access to the advanced stuff, you'll see that there as well. But let me just break this down for you real quick. Self-study again, $297. You get the 16 lesson course. You get the brokerage account training. You also get the free trading resources, okay? And access to our free stock trading software. Membership, you get all of that. Plus, all right, you're going to get the Options Explained course. You're going to get the live weekly group coaching session. You're also going to get access to the replay vault. And then you're also going to get access to the Traders Forum, which is a $1,200 value as well. So all of that comes with membership. And again, that webinar special is $99 a month. Once the timer goes to 0, the price goes up. All right. And let me answer some of the most common questions, because I know some questions have come in. Let me answer some of the most common ones. Number one, is there a contract or commitment? There's no contract. There's no commitment. You can cancel at any time. So, stay as long as you want. But I would say if you're not looking to stay 6 to 12 months, you're going to be cheating yourself, because it takes time to learn this industry, get up to speed. You have to practice the actual trade first and then actually start making some real trades. So I would say come in with the mindset that you're going to be here 6 to 12 months, coming in thinking you're just going to learn this in a week, 2 weeks, a month. It's like going to college and thinking, I'm just going to go one semester and get my degree. It's just not going to happen. What if I can't make the live sessions? So the live sessions are Monday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they're all recorded. So no matter what time zone you live in, if you can't make the live sessions, they're recorded. So you can watch the recording after it's over. We usually post it about 3 hours after the live session happens. So you'll have access to that. So not being able to make it live is not an excuse not to get started. How much time will it take to learn this? Well, I just told you I would at least commit to 6 to 12 months, but everybody's time frame is different. If you're retired and you're at home and you can look at this all day and go through the modules and practice, it's going to take that person less time to learn, or they're going to learn faster than the person that's working a full-time job, has a family. It's going to take you a little bit longer. And so it's not about how long will it take you to learn it. It's about taking the first steps and then going down your path, because everybody's life and commitments are different. All right. And then, do I need a lot of money to get started? No. In fact, if you don't have a lot of money, it's probably best that you get started, because number one, you need to learn how it works and then practice first. And sometimes people with a lot of money like to jump straight in and start trading, and then they lose the money and say, oh, maybe I should have practiced what he talked about first before I jumped in with real money. So we teach you how to create a practice account and start practice trading first before you actually put real money down. So you don't need a lot of money to get started, but at some point, obviously it's the stock market, you're going to need money to invest. So as we close, let me end with this, guys. You know, the Dalai Lama asked was what surprised him about humanity, and he answered, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present, the result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die and then dies having never really lived. And I think what the Dalai Lama was really saying here is that most people spend their entire life chasing money, and they work 2 jobs, they're on their feet all day. And by the time they retire, their bones are broken down, they're sick, they're old, they're tired. And now they have to spend their money on medical bills because they never took care of their health, or they spent their whole life chasing money. And so you look at the end of your life and you realize, like, I never really lived. I spent most of my time chasing the buck or chasing a job, chasing a promotion. And this is your opportunity to get off of that hamster wheel, right? So here's the deal, right? For $99, you can literally change your life, guys. If you don't take action, here's the reality for you. You're still going to continue being embarrassed due to the lack of knowledge of how the stock market works. You're going to live. Tomorrow's going to come and go, but you're not going to have any real financial plan. You're going to have to choose between time and money. You're going to be unable to give on the level that you'd like to give on. You're going to have to save money and live and drive what you can afford, which, you know, that's some people's life. I drive what I can afford. But if you take action, you have the ability to be confident in your trading by joining us in this crusade. You have the ability to have a financial game plan for your future, the opportunity to have time and money together, the ability to give more to your churches, your charity, your community. You have a game plan and a vision for purchasing that dream car and that dream home now. And that's what's on the table by getting started and taking this seriously. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this slide. Here's what's included: $99 a month membership, or $297. Go the self-study route. And then if you choose to join membership later, you can join at whatever the current price is later after the timer hits 0. But all that information is on the checkout page. Click the button, go look at the page, go review the pricing options. I think you got at least a few hours or 24 hours or something like that to check with your spouse if you need to do all that stuff. But don't leave this webinar without taking action, checking out the pricing, picking which one is best for you, and doing something different today that's going to lead to a better tomorrow for you and your family. So if I didn't answer your question, I'll jump in the comments or I'll respond by email for those of you who sent an email. So thanks for your time. I'll see you on the other side.